improving your reading experience using community firmware, and some cool tips and accessories, this video will help you get more out of your Xteink X4 Pocket e-reader. While the included quick start guide and the manual online are really helpful, here are a few more tips for getting around. Pressing back in the home screen pulls up your last 20 read books. If you long press back while in a book, it takes you straight to the home screen. But if you do a short press, you go back one step at a time through your folder tree instead. And in a multi-page list, a long press will go to the next page of items instead of the next item on the list, like with a short press. Alright, now for reading. Out of the box, the EPUB reading experience is kind of rough, with things like no bold or italic text, no space between paragraphs, and missing glyphs for some accented characters. Also note devices for the Chinese market, like those sold on AliExpress, ship with a different firmware from devices bought from the Xteink website. Out of the box, they may have less optimal formatting or less options for reading in English. So how can you improve your reading experience while staying on the stock firmware? You could install your own font, or you could convert your books to XDC format. Let's talk about fonts first. Installing makes it sound complicated, but it's really just converting the font and putting that file anywhere on your SD card. You can convert using this handy webpage and even browse and download fonts that others have already converted on that platform. You can also use the DotInk app to convert fonts, which works better in my experience, but it's not free. To convert, you just bring your own font file and choose things like the size of the text that you want and the space between the lines and the space between the characters. There's still no bold or italic formatting, but if you choose a font with complete glyphs, you will get all your accented characters back. And you'll still be able to use all the built-in reader features like bookmarks and be able to change the orientation whenever you want. Be warned that most fonts will have clunky wide spacing compared to the built-in one, and so monospaced typewriter-looking fonts might look better to you. That said, after a lot of trial and error, I did find a font with seemingly complete glyphs that doesn't suffer from the spacing issue so badly. I'll link to that font below, but please do share in the comments if you find more that don't have weird spacing. If you don't mind converting your ebook files, you can also convert your EPUBs to a format called XTC, the format Xteink made for displaying image-heavy content. The end result is the formatting and layout is a lot more like your usual Kobo or Kindle e-reader, with inline images and really just all the bells and whistles when it comes to making a page look nice and readable. The downside here is it's kind of like converting to a PDF in that you can't change the layout on the fly. You also can't use all of the Xteink reader features available for EPUBs like bookmarks. It also makes the book file quite a bit bigger, not really a problem for storage since you can expand it so much with a SD card, but it does make files annoying to transfer wirelessly. There are a few community-built tools for converting your EPUBs, both web and desktop options. But basically, you just plop in your book, and then you can choose or upload your font, choose orientation of the page, your margins, add a progress bar, just really dial in your preferred settings and layout. But if you're open to being a bit more adventurous, I highly recommend checking out community-developed firmware. Long story short, because of factors like the microcontroller used by this e-reader, people are able to create things like entirely new firmware to just drop into this hardware. I've been really enjoying one called Crosspoint. This is an EPUB file. I didn't convert anything, and this book looks great. It's nicely formatted, there's spaces between paragraphs, complete accents. The footer has battery percentage, which isn't even on the stock firmware. The text is also anti-alias, so it looks nice and smooth. This firmware has features like chapter navigation and pulling custom sleep screens at random from a folder, with many more on the way. Flashing firmware using the web utility is pretty straightforward. Just connect your device to your computer via USB-C. Ideally, do a full backup if it's your first time here. Then just click Flash Firmware and wait for the process to finish. Once that's done, just press the button above the USB-C port, hold the power button for a bit, and you're all set. While community projects are unofficial and unaffiliated with Xteink, if you're comfortable with that, flashing community firmware can completely change your experience with this device. But enough about software, let's talk about some accessories. For covers and cases, Xteink does sell official covers and stuff, which are quite nice, but I also suggest checking out the great free files for 3D printing a case. I really like these slide-in ones because they're very slim, and if you flip them around, you can protect your screen while still leaving the magnet in the back free. So you can still use MagSafe accessories and do things like stick it to your phone if you want to carry them around as one unit. Some even have loops for a lanyard, which can be surprisingly handy. While this reader comes with an SD card, I always prefer to replace the ones on gadgets like these with SD cards from brands I found reliable for not corrupting data. You can even expand your storage all the way up to 500 gig. This reader also comes with a matte screen protector, but based on the posts and comments on the subreddit, people find it tricky to apply, maybe since it's film type and not glass. So my tip is to use the door hinge method to get it positioned, and also to do this in the bathroom after a shower. Sounds weird, but it should help with lessening the dust just floating around. I've mentioned quite a lot of community resources in this video, and there are a few more you might find useful. I'll link to all of them below. Please check them out and support the developers and creators if you can. They're doing such great work. Happy reading!